Hello and welcome to the Quickfive Show. I'm Quickfive, and this is the show. Spider-Man, one of the most iconic pop culture characters of all time. If you found this video, it's more than likely that you've seen some form of Spider-Man media. You might think of one of the various cartoons or live-action movies based on Spider-Man, like that new Homecoming one coming out. I can't wait to see that. But putting Spider-Man's face on something doesn't guarantee success. Case in point, CBS's 1978 TV show based on the character. Airing in the late 70s alongside The Incredible Hulk, this was the world's first attempt to bring the wall crawler to the real world. And boy does it show. While it wasn't terribly received at launch, it did not do well in the long term. While The Hulk went on for 5 seasons, this one only went on for 2. Its small viewership wasn't enough to keep it alive, especially because the air dates were so few and far between. And even if you did have the patience to put up with these inconsistencies, you had to sit through one of the most by-the-numbers superhero shows out there. We're going to take a look at the 90-minute long pilot that launched the series back in 1977, and see how it holds up after all this time. So the pilot begins with, what else? Some opening credits featuring our titular Spider-Man crawling all over the wall. Get used to it, folks. We're going to be seeing a lot more. After that's over, we cut to a doctor taking a patient's blood pressure when the cast decides to just walk off the set. Huh. I mean, I know this was bad, but come on, that's a little extreme. So the rogue actors perform a bank robbery before crashing their car into a wall, and then these guys come and take the money they stole, implying some form of foul play. But enough with the potentially interesting bank robbery thing. It's time to meet our lead, Peter Parker, trying to sell his photos to J. Jonah Jameson, who quite enjoys telling Peter about himself.
Look, I appreciate your working your way through college. That's what I did. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even bother with you.
You're also 21 years old, your blood type is O negative, and you're suffering from IBS. Unfortunately, their conversation is interrupted by a special news bulletin, announced by a reporter who pronounces words very strangely.
We interrupt this program for a special news alert. The mayor has received an extortion note in which the lives of 10 New Yorkers have been threatened. Ryder claims that 10 people somewhere in the city have been programmed to destroy themselves at his command.
Let me see that again.
To prove that he has full control over his victims' minds, the extortionist accepts full responsibility for the bank robbery committed only this morning by 2 of the city's most respected citizens. Further details in the letter demand a sum of $50 million to be paid on Friday at noon.
Suppose it's a hoax. What do we look like then?
Come on, Jameson, get with the program.
So
So the reporter details the events from earlier and informs us of the plot. An extortionist has demanded a large sum of money from the city of New York and plans to use mind control to get 10 people to kill themselves if he does not get it. Jameson is skeptical, but Peter seems interested, returning to his college laboratory where he's testing radioactive materials. Allow me to repeat that. A college student, multiple college students, are experimenting with radioactive materials in a lab behind an unlocked door. Was this just a common thing in the 70s or something? Peter's relaying his thoughts about the whole mind control fiasco to this guy when they're interrupted by a delivery man who's hesitant to come in for obvious reasons.
Hey, is it safe in there?
If you already have kids.
You know, pointing out your problems doesn't excuse them, guys. If the characters are aware of the horrible safety conditions in this lab, you can't just roll with it. Speaking of horrible safety conditions, Peter and Guy do science-y stuff with this radioactive waste when we see that a spider has somehow made its way inside of this sealed container meant to keep in radioactive waste. The spider even flashes, I guess, to symbolize that it's been irradiated, and nobody even bats an eye at this.
What was that?
Oh, you mean that big, obvious flash in there? Yeah. No. Well, how about that glowing bug that just made its way out of it? Didn't see that either. So, shock of all shocks, Peter gets bitten, and then does nothing about it. Just continues along his merry way. No need to get that checked or anything. It's not like spiders are usually poisonous. So we cut to Peter walking outside the drugstore when this happens. My plot convenience sense is starting to tingle. This may not be so bad now, but trust me, it gets really stupid. So Peter gets chased by a car but manages to escape, using his new wall-crawling powers that he somehow knew he had. Also, the show decides to remind us of events that happened in the previous scene. Yeah, thanks for that. We never could have made the connection. The two gents from before show up to snag some cash from the car, leaving Peter alone to take pictures when he's interrogated by Captain Gordon. Captain Stacy. Captain Barbera.
Hey, you! I'm Captain Barbera. I understand you saw all of this.
This is one of the most stereotypical police captain characters you'll ever find. He's constantly growling, he barks everything he says, he's skeptical of everything he hears, and he's always got a cigar in his mouth that he never actually smokes.
Get this innocent bystander's name and address. And get these rubbernecks out of here!
Barbera is suspicious of Peter because of his inconsistent accounts of the events.
Hey! Hey! Kid, come here! Now look, I know you want to be helpful. So maybe you can tell me what happened to the $20,000 that was in that car.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Who came near it after it hit the wall?
I don't know that either, I'm afraid.
Don't be. I'll give you police protection. You know what I mean?
But I wasn't here.
Where were you? The cop says nobody came out of the alley.
Oh, well, what I mean to say is that I wasn't looking at the time.
Your eyes were closed. You couldn't stand all the carnage. Is that a fair assumption on my part?
Yes, sir.
I suppose you just walked through the wall to get away from the car, huh? Or better yet, you climbed up the wall with your bare hands. Is that what you're telling me? Well, sir, Get out of here! So following this, Peter returns home to his bed, where he dreams of the events that just happened. Does this show think we have the attention span of a goldfish or something? Oh my god. I had a dream that I was in a terrible CBS pilot. Perturbed by this, Peter decides to go outside and... Oh my god. Not only are the green screen effects terrible, but the lighting and sizing completely wrong, but what the hell is up with this soundtrack? Look at this right here. Did they not tell him that he was climbing on a pole? Apparently this was all so exciting for Peter that he goes back inside and makes this face. Peter decides to test out his powers on a public building because that's totally discreet, when his plot convenience sense warns him of a robbery taking place.
Help! Stop him! Stop him! Help! Stop him! Help! Stop him!
Hey, you! Hold it! Hold it!
Huh? What's that guy doing on the side of the wall? Well, it's a good thing I have time to look at him and not get caught. Oh no, I just got caught. Unsurprisingly, Peter gets spotted by a few innocent bystanders, including this lovely actress.
Somebody was coming down the wall.
I'm acting. Peter unsuccessfully tries to sell his photos of the car crash to Jameson when they mention Spider-Man.
Well, if you could get me a picture of the Spider-Man, that I'd buy.
Who?
Spider-Man. At least that's what these drunks called him. They saw someone climbing up and down the walls.
And start
I
talking.
did see him.
What do you look like?
Oh, like a spider.
How many legs
And
do you have?
talking.
Well, two, of course. He's a man.
You just said he was a spider. Spiders have got lots of legs.
No, sir, he's
And
like a
talking.
spider. He can do the things a spider does, climb walls and spin webs, and he's very, very strong.
I can step on a
And
spider. Can I step on you?
talking.
No, sir, I told you, he's not a spider. He's a full-grown man. He's got the strength of
Okay,
a spider,
point
but
is,
it's all...
Jameson wants pictures of this Spider-Man, and Peter plans to put on a special costume and take pictures of himself to sell to the Bugle. So there's your origin story, folks. That is the reason why Spider-Man exists in this universe. Aren't you so glad they got rid of all that pesky emotional attachment about power and responsibility. No, this guy just wants to sell pictures. Just, just cause, I guess. Cool. Peter returns to his house and we meet Aunt May, who delivers some more information about our protagonist.
Peter, did you take your allergy pills? Peter!
This may seem like a pointless exchange, but there actually is a bit of a payoff to this whole allergy subplot. No, it's not worth it, but there is a payoff. No. No, pilot, you can't do that, no. You can't just have him step into the limelight in that stupid costume out of nowhere. Is red and blue spandex really the first thing that came to mind when he said special costume? I think a black cat suit would have done just fine. I mean, at least in the Sam Raimi movies, there was the excuse that it was originally a wrestler's uniform. What the hell was going through this Peter's head? So yeah, he takes some selfies and sells them to Jameson, and then gets sent to another car crash to take some more photos. Oh, and Captain Barbera is back. That's nice.
He was a lone wolf, but a crazy lone wolf. Look at him, driving right into a brick wall. Can you explain all this to me, please?
You know, as stereotypical as this captain here is, he is probably the most entertaining part of this pilot. Unlike the previous few crashes, this man is alive and well, just trapped behind the steering wheel. Peter manages to rescue him, displaying his spider strength for the first time. The man gets carted off to the hospital, and we meet the obvious love interest for the episode, Judy. She never appears in the series again, and barely even contributes to this episode's plot, so... Next! While the car crash victim is resting in the hospital, this totally not suspicious doctor puts a pin on his jacket. This allows our mysterious villain to mind control him through... I don't know, computer commands? Either way, he gets ready for a cordless bungee jumping session.
Hurry up, get up there, move it!
This looks like a job for the amazing first-person man. Though I will admit, these effects are actually pretty good. Hell of a lot better than the green screen stuff from earlier. Barbera reacts accordingly.
Who is that character, anyway?
It's almost like something you'd see in a comic book. But that'd never work. Who likes spiders? Peter fails to sell his photos to Jameson, but decides to ask for money from... Judy?
Do you think you could possibly lend me $46? I can get it back to you.
After all you've done for us, that's the least I can do. Come on.
You rode the car with me and ran away when my dad was about to jump out a window. Seriously, what did Peter do? Judy doesn't know that he's Spider-Man. Judy and Peter are contemplating why Judy's father would want to jump out a window, and it leads them to a self-help group run by a man named Byron, our obvious villain.
Good afternoon. We're glad to have you. I'm Edward Byron.
Judy Tyler. Professor Tyler's daughter?
Oh, yes.
Byron has an interesting way of helping people.
Live with little pictures in your minds of what you think life is. You deserve to be the miserable fools you are because you'll never be happy by trying to be happy.
I get paid to ridicule people. Life is good. Peter is, understandably, not very amused at this and returns to his lab to, out of nowhere really, start working on his web shooters. You know, those things that Spider-Man is known for. Also interesting to note is that he's just now working on his web shooters, and we are 47 minutes in to this 90-minute pilot. Oh, and enjoy some swinging on a tree, set to the same music as the house-crawling scene from earlier. Anyway, plot. The terrorist is continuing to threaten to kill people while these people watch some funny lights. Next scene! Peter's plot convenience sense goes off again, and he goes to investigate. As implied by this shot of his open window. What, did they run out of budget to show him climbing out? And, in case we couldn't tell, these people watching the lights are Byron's clients.
And he's hypnotizing them, I guess.
Your life is finally ending, and it deserves to end. But I will give you one last chance.
Are you surprised? And then we see Spider-Man climbing up the side of a building for a solid minute. Yeah, this goes on for a minute. Just a whole minute. And they threw in that music from before, just to hammer the point home. I'm purposefully drawing this out, just so you know how I felt, watching these stupid effects for a solid 60 seconds. Oh, and remember the allergy pill scene from earlier? That uber important scene that we all wanted to know the meaning of? Well, here's the payoff. Peter sneezes and breaks that little tracking device he had for some reason. Wasn't that a great plot point? And it doesn't even matter because Peter was where he was trying to go anyway. Wasn't that just so interesting? Peter climbs down the wall to get inside a window, but not before giving us a good long look at his ass while he looks directly into the camera. Thanks for keeping it classy, CBS. So Spider-Man infiltrates Byron's top secret headquarters, but gets stopped by his security team of... Samurai? The hell? I'm sorry, is this a reference to something I'm not familiar with? What's going on? And so they fight. Peter manages to hold his own using his kung fu skills that he totally knows, and then he traps them underneath some Halloween store cobwebs. But the cheap decorations have little effect on them as they escape and follow Spider-Man up to the roof. He's able to outfight and outmaneuver these presumably highly trained security warriors, and then he escapes in a rather hilarious fashion.
Now, this one's an original.
I'm not sure about that, Byron. Spider-Man's been rebooted quite a few times now.
He'll come back by himself.
How the hell do you know that? Anywho, another one of Byron's clients robs a bank, leading to yet another scene with Barbera.
Now it turns out you're the official photographer for a character who's also involved in this case. A character I'd very much like to question.
Who's that?
How would you like a graduate course in criminal incarceration? Answer the question or you're enrolled.
You know, Captain Barbera kinda rocks. He's definitely the most entertaining thing in this pilot. And by that I mean he's the only entertaining thing in this pilot. Anywho, Peter goes to investigate Byron as himself.
But I've been talking to some of the other people, and I would very much like to take the program.
This is your membership pin.
Which is definitely not a mind-controlled device.
And I have some literature I'd like to give you.
And definitely not lure you into the back room so I can hypnotize you. Oh, yeah, Peter gets hypnotized.
Listen to me. Listen carefully. This is important. When you leave here, you will forget that you came. On Friday at exactly 12 noon, you will be standing at the tower of the Empire State Building. And when you hear this sound, you will jump from the tower.
Are you ready to comply?
Peter goes home none the wiser, but is interrupted by, you'll never guess, his plot convenience sense. And he goes outside to do something. Okay, seriously, can we please stop with the plot convenience sense? It's just getting obnoxious at this point. So Spider-Man returns to Byron's secret headquarters, and for some reason, the samurai are waiting for him. Why? I mean, I understand being prepared for him to return, but were they just hiding on the roof, waiting for him to come back? Well, they must have been, because when Spider-Man tries to swing away, they use a flamethrower to destroy his webs, causing him to fall to the ground, injuring himself. This leads to what's probably the most realistic scene in this pilot.
Hey, man, I don't want to mess with you.
Open the door, would you please? I'm not feeling well.
I'm not feeling so well myself.
Spidey fails to catch a cab, but instead finds his way home in the safest way possible. Afterwards, Byron launches his final threat to kill off his victims in a few hours. Time is running short, but it seems like Peter has finally figured out how Byron is doing what he's doing. And brace yourselves, this is gonna be quite the reveal.
I know how it was done. He's been using microwave circuits.
You know, call me crazy, but I don't think microwaves are just radio waves in disguise. Peter goes to inform Captain Barbera of his findings, but his mind control signal is activated, causing him to go to the Empire State Building to kill himself. Oh wow, this is getting suspenseful. I wonder how he's going to get out of this. Oh. Okay. Sure. That works. Not contrived in the slightest. Spider-Man finds Byron's microwave tower and destroys it, stopping the signal and somehow causing it to backfire, sending Byron into a trance.
Mr. Byron, you turned into one of your own zombies.
Yeah, that's how that works. So Spidey tells Byron to turn himself in, he and the samurai are now buddies, and all is right with the world. Of course, the credit is given to Captain Barbera and not Spider-Man, so Jameson shows up to congratulate him.
That character in the clown suit, he worked out pretty good.
That freak. He ought to be locked up, running around like a one-man army. I don't know where he came from, but I sure hope he goes back there.
Maybe you're right. People shouldn't interfere with the law. Let the police do that.
Exactly. You men deserve all the credit for this job.
Well, if that's the way you're going to put it in your paper, how can I stop you?
I'm a complete hypocrite. Peter shows up to give Jameson some pictures of Spider-Man with his new samurai buddies, and we end on this exchange.
How come you're the only one who's able to get pictures of him?
Simple. I believe.
What? Are you suggesting that Spider-Man is Santa Claus? What does that mean, Peter? What does it mean? So anyway, that was the Spider-Man pilot, and let me say, it really doesn't hold up. I mean, it had potential, it did. Most of these shows do. But it was oddly formulaic for a show about a spider-themed vigilante. The science was stupid, the plot was stupid, the characters were cardboard cutouts. Despite a decent effect or two, the entire thing was just unambitious. The show didn't really do much after the pilot either. Well, some of the characters, like Judy and the Samurai, were completely left out, and Jameson was completely recast, and they just kept the same formula. Something weird happens in New York, Spider-Man appears and makes things right, the end. It was really, really boring to sit through. And believe me, I know, I sat through all of the episodes. I just thought that this would be the perfect one to show all the problems with the show. Even the air dates were terrible. 2 episodes could air from a week apart to 2 months apart. And you'd be waiting that long for what? More of this? Trust me, it wouldn't have been worth your time. What's even worse is that this is the least faithful Spider-Man adaptation you will ever see. Even The Amazing Spider-Man made me think more of Spider-Man than this. This is like Dragnet, but with Spider-Man, which is completely idiotic. You want my advice? Skip this, which chances are you already have, and then go watch Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Watch the Spectacular Spider-Man. Hell, watch any Spider-Man that isn't this. It will be a far more fulfilling experience. Trust me, I know. Thanks for tuning in to the very first episode of the Quickfive Show. Tune in again, whenever.